Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Blacadian universe, the last episode of season 5. Summer is here. So excited. Um, so, you know what time it is? I got together with my girlfriend Nadine, and we were talking about black joy. And I've long since talked about how black joy is a form of resistance, and I want to talk a little bit more about why that is. So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So at the end of the season, I always, look back and reflect on all the episodes that I've covered for the year and just sort of thinking about it. And of course, one of, the things I was thinking about, and of course, when I get together with my girlfriend Nadine, we're two busy moms that found we make the time to get together and, connect and, stay connected. It's so important. And we were just talking about, I was just talking about, we were texting back and forth a little while ago about just, I did an episode a little while ago about preferring to be black. And we were like, the answer was like, oh, if you could be any race, what race would you be? And we were like, black? The fuck? What do you mean? Like, of course, there's only one answer. And we were just laughing about how, I don't think we were just, if you're not black, maybe you don't understand it. Like, I think there's this misconception that black people hate ourselves and that we're so, because it is, you encounter racism when you're black. There are hardships, but the black people that I know and love will say that there. I can't imagine not being black. I can't imagine not. Yeah, I just can't imagine not being black. It's good. It's really good. And so it's just so we were basically trying to explain, why that is. Would it be different? Yes, I'm not saying that. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know what to imagine. And so we went through this whole conversation about what it would be like to not be black. And we were like, it's kind of a life I don't necessarily I couldn't imagine. And we have that thing where people appropriate our culture because we love it so much, because we're so comfortable here. People can tell. Like, people don't copy people that hate themselves. Like, that's not what people are trying to emulate and trying to copy. They can feel the love that we have for ourselves. So that's why, when people are, I think there was like this Twitter thread where people were like, could you imagine, just like, it was like for Juneteenth, like, just could you imagine not being black? I mean, like, that's got to be rough. And so I think genuinely people just don't understand that. And I get it from the outside looking in. I don't know even how to explain it. Like, we were literally talking about this for like a half an hour. We were just like, I can't explain it. Like, I just don't know how to explain it. But the best that I could come up with is that the fact that people look to our culture, people, want to copy our way of talking, our way of dressing, our music, our, just being invited to the cookout, just wanting to be a part of it. It's not because, we hate it here. It's because we love it here. And it's evident that we're the pride, that we're happy, we're, joyful despite the hate that people try and throw at us. We're still like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I don't want to be anybody else but me. And, celebrating blackness in all of its forms, because it's not a monolith. Like, we're all different. There's many different aspects to, Black American, Black Canadian, the culture, we're happy here, we're comfortable here. And so that was like where I landed, and how I can explain it to somebody is that nobody wants to copy people that, aren't genuinely unhappy and don't like themselves. They're copying us because they know, hashtag being Black is lit. Like, that's just how I can explain it. So I'm just, it's one of those things where, despite the oppression, despite the anti-Black racism, despite the hate, we still want to be here. We still want to be Black. And I think that just speaks volumes. And this led me to, ponder the second, part of this, which was that an observation that I made, which was, and I'm putting it out to you as the audience, as well as, I, posed the question to my friend Nadine, is just, have you ever noticed, I've noticed that racist people love when Black people are unhappy with their Blackness. When it does come up, when, it's, I don't want to say rare, but when it is, it does come up, it's pushed in our faces. Like, it's always, held up as an example of people like this self-hatred, because they want to sort of celebrate that, or show that this is, the natural state of being. This is how we should be feeling and thinking about ourselves all the time. And I was like, it's getting a lot of attention for this, that the rare case that they find someone who's, self-hating or hating themselves. And, I'm not talking about people that, like, because people will say, like, people that try to modify their appearance, like have plastic surgery or something like that. People will be like, oh, I'll be like, yeah, those people, like, or even people like will say that people who wear, straighten their hair or wear wigs or whatever really want to be white. And I'm like, yeah, that's a stretch. Like, I don't think I know people that, will wear, like a 30-inch bust down, and then like the next week have like a full-on, fro with a pick in it. So it's not even about that. It's just about fashion, expression yourself. So, like, I like, maybe that's the case for some people, but I know that there's people that just, like different hairstyles, and love being Black. So, anyways, the point is that, when I find, like, when people are like, oh, it's so hard being, in this situation, or this is because of, I really wished that I was, different, because cases are upheld by racists, and because they love it. They love seeing Black people unhappy. And, we talk about it with, videos of gruesome crimes being against, Black individuals, and how, like, there's videos of it, and people are just circulating around on social media, whatever the case may be. And it's sort of like, historically that was done with lynchings. There's postcards of, massacres in the Black community, and like Tulsa, and like, it's just all these things where people are like, this was their souvenirs. And so I feel like that's a modern representation of that today. And so when people are talking about, when someone is down on themselves and their Blackness, I feel like it's a modern representation of, those kinds of like lynching postcards and, mementos and souvenirs, is because it's, it really warms the heart of the white supremacist to see, Black suffering and Black sadness, because that is, to them, how we should be existing in this world. And it sort of really gets them going, for lack of a better word. And so that's just sort of how when I, think of these things, I think that, and so, my friend, when we were having this conversation, she was saying, yeah, like, if you ever see, like, one of the things that are happening on social media right now, especially if there's, like, anti-Black hate, it gets so much attention and likes. I think we were saying, like, once hate speech was removed, people were dropping, like, the N-bombs all over the place. See last week's episode about how we fighting, if you're using that word around me. But anyways, and you're not Black. So, there's just this, that gravity, the anti-Black racism, just the celebration of that. And there's just this instant, people latching onto it because, again, the wanting to uphold the beliefs of white supremacy and wanting to, make that lie true. People want to sort of hold Black people in this perpetual state of, like, enslavement and disadvantage. And when we rise above that, it really irritates people. And the thing is that I say it all the time, that they're not even understanding why my happiness, my joy, my satisfaction disrupts them, because it is abnormal to them, because they're very well aware of anti-Black racism. They know that it exists. They know the power of it, of racism, and the long benefits of, white privilege. And so, when they see a Black woman in first class on an airplane, they're shocked, they're stunned, because that is, that shouldn't be, their brains cannot compute. When they see, Black people in luxury, and they're not, like, I'm not talking about, like, famous people that they're like, okay, it's like the 1 in a billion chance that they got famous. It's just, educated, happy, moisturized Black people just enjoying luxuries, luxury vacations, luxury hotels that they think that we cannot have access to because they were typically white spaces. It blows their mind, and they're unhappy with it because they have been promised that that's not for us. It doesn't matter how much they're suffering. They know that we will suffer more, and that it's a special kind of evil where that's your happy place, where it doesn't even need to be for you. It just has to not be for me. And when you look at the way our society was built, when you look at healthcare in America and access to it and all that, it's really just about stopping access to Black people. Basically, they were saying, like, we're not gonna give it to everybody because we just don't want this group of people to get it, and we will happily suffer, which it's insane to me. Will happily suffer as long as they're suffering too. And so when we rise above these systems of control and oppression, and we are joyful and happy despite them, it really sticks in there. It really, I guess it's an onion in their ointment, to see Black joy. So, I always talk about, using my joy as a form of resistance. And I truly believe that. Especially these days, there's so much hatred in the world. You know, people are really, really, really trying to hold on to the ideals of white supremacy, and I'm so proud that it's being challenged every single day. And you know, I've told the story before, but I wanted to, you know, end the episode and the season on just something I think about quite a lot. And it was like a enslaver writing in his journal about how in the, you know, slave quarters where the slaves would, you know, live, they would have celebrations and music and dancing. And, you know, he was writing about it, and he was so vexed by this happening. And it's so powerful to me. It had such an impression on me when I heard that, because I know that that is, you know, that was something that they could do, that was within their power, to still have joy in this life that was so hard, which was designed to just be cruel to them for being Black, for existing, that they could find a way to be human is an amazing and powerful thing. And, I always say intentionally, that they could hear that celebration, that they could hear that music, they could send a message to their enslavers that they are people, despite what they are trying to make them believe. We know who is wrong in this situation. We know that it is you that are despicable, disgusting, horrible human beings. We are people. We have joy. We have music. We have fun. We have joy still. That is a powerful message, despite what you try to take away from me. And I know that that was silent. It was silent in the enslavers' homes. They didn't have, they had everything. They had everything, but they didn't have that. They didn't have that joy. They couldn't take it. You can't bottle it. You can't strip it from people. They had everything, and they still didn't have that. And it makes them angry. And that same blood, that same DNA of jealousy, of anger, of not being prideful, joyful, alive, runs in their veins, and it still irks them when they see the same passion and joy and light and happiness in my Black face today. My joy today is still a powerful, powerful form of resistance to white supremacy. And I encourage and implore all of you to use that on your hardest days. Remember to find the joy in life, because it feeds your being and your soul. And it is also a very powerful message to anybody who would try to deny your right of being a full human being. Black joy is resistance, a powerful resistance. And so as I go off to my summer break to enjoy my time and life. I encourage you all to do the same. I'm going to be spreading black joy and wonder all over the place and, making white supremacists mad. So I encourage you all to do the same. So, as I said, this is the last episode for season 5. Thank you so much for listening and coming on this journey with me all year. New episodes are going to be returning in just a few short weeks. So be sure to stay tuned and, subscribe to the podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube now. So wherever you listen to your podcasts, you can find me. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. But I'll definitely be starting those up in a few short weeks. But go back in the catalog and tell me what your favorite episodes are. Reach out to me on social media at Blacadian. Let me know if there's anything you want me to cover, talk about anything, any burning topics to discuss. So be safe, have a great summer. Again, be joyful, black joy, spread that around, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for listening.